So before moving on to the construction of the neck, I'd like to acknowledge a comment made by Benoit Aigret and thank him for the comment as well. Benoit left a comment at the end of part 4 of these videos where he described the construction and the design of an LED lamp that he made about a year ago. And it's an oak circle, about 3/4 of an oak circle, sitting in a stone base. Sounds very pretty. And he's got some copper strips on the exterior. So the copper strips, if you want to engage the LEDs, you just rotate the circle a little bit to make contact with the base, and that will turn the lamp on. That's a far simpler switch than my capacitance switch, and of course because it's simpler it's going to be far more reliable, not nearly as fussy as mine is. So I like the simplicity of his switch. I like the design. If I've pictured it correctly, it sounds like a very pretty lamp. But I especially like his construction method. He described his construction method as doing the bent lamination in 2 operations. So instead of the method I'm showing you where I'm doing 1 lamination at a time over some 7 or 8 layers, he's done it in 2. So he's taken all but the top 2 layers and glued them together in 1 operation, 1 session. Then he takes a router and makes a channel for the LEDs. He inserts the LEDs, does the wiring, and then in the second glue session he puts in the last couple of layers. That's far faster than the way I'm going about it. Now, with any woodworking way of doing things, there are many ways of going about it. And you can sit down and make a list of the pros of this method and the cons of that method and compare and weigh them, and then you choose the method that just seems to fit with you better. So I sat down and I thought, okay, my method must have some pros and cons, so what are they compared to Benoit's method? And I didn't come up with any. His method is better, no matter what you look at. I thought about it some more and I thought, oh wait, I use less wood. Okay, that's a microscopic benefit compared to how fast and easy his method is. So Benoit, thank you for that comment. Thank you for that rich description. And thank you most of all for the gentle way that you expressed what your method of doing things was. I don't know if there's going to be any more light-emitting diode lamps in my own future, but if there are, you can bet that I'm going to use Benoit's method for the next one. Okay, so let's move on to the rest of the construction of the neck. I'm going to flash through some very short scenes showing you building up the walls stage by stage, then boring the holes for the LEDs, some of the wiring, gluing in the final layer to form the cap to make this thing look like a solid hunk of wood, and a little bit of boiled linseed oil finishing at the end. It took 4 layers to build up the walls. The layers were glued one at a time, then paired at the front end right down to the base layers. Between each layer I adjusted the clamps, making the space between their jaws a little wider to speed up the clamping. So in this part of the build there was a lot of rinse and repeat going on. I'll just show a few scenes here and there for that part. Here the second layer of the wall is coming out of the clamps. Here I'm applying some glue for the third layer. Before each layer went on, I had to readjust the clamp jaws. Each layer added 1/8 of an inch, or about 3 millimeters. So I would widen each of the clamps so that I could get them on quickly, so that they would stay in place, and so that I could tighten them without too many turns of the screw. taken a while to get here, but we are now undoing the last of the wall sections. It's important to see what the light pattern is like before you commit to closing up your lamp. So that's what these mock-ups are for. The light emitting diodes that I purchased are rated to have even illumination over a 15-degree angle. So if you want to get even illumination from 3 rows, it's important to figure out what kind of angle you should put on the rows on either side in order to get even illumination. I started off thinking that maybe a 10-degree angle would be right. So in other words, the central row went in at 90 degrees, and then the rows on either side are splayed. In this one, I splayed them by 10 degrees. So I tried that, and when I held up my mock-up a couple of feet away from the wall, I got 5 bands of light. So 3 bright ones and some dimmer bands in between the rows and the center. So then I made a second mock-up, this time with a 5-degree splay, and that one is illuminating evenly. It won't be possible to see it with all of these, can I call them studio lights, in the workshop, but I'm getting much more even illumination using a 5-degree angle instead of 10. So that's what I'm going to go with. Okay, so the walls have received 4 layers, and that's giving me a space that's about ½ an inch deep, and that's plenty of room to work with for putting in the LEDs.
The next step is to install the LEDs, but I leapfrogged to the last step and soaked the top layer to give it some time to dry into a curve.
Doing a little cleanup before marking the spots for the LEDs. The LEDs will start at the top of the arch and run down the neck. That's towards the right in this shot. I used my 3D printer to make a tiny square with a 1-inch wide blade, a slot down the middle, and lots of pencil holes. I marked everything without making a single measurement.
Here's a second version. It rides on 2 bumps on the inside curve, so its blade shoots out perfectly radial lines. The radials will help at the drill press. The center row was bored square using a machinist's vise. For the side rows, I clamped the neck to a ramp that was 5 degrees off level. To finish the bottom with the LEDs mounted in place would make a mess, so I finished the bottom with 2 coats of boiled linseed oil before the LEDs went in. Glue gun, a little dab will do ya. It's important to test the solder joints as you go along. So my 28 LEDs are laid out as a central row of 10 and 2 side rows of 9. I started in the center and wired the LEDs from 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock, and then the resistor jumps to 12, and then finally over to the 3 o'clock LED. That was a little weird, but it left me with 3 straight rows of 4 going up and another 3 straight rows of 4 going down. For the record, it does not matter where the resistor is, as long as it's in series in the chain somewhere. Here's a shot of one of the straight rows going up from the center. And here are the 3 rows going up from the center, all done.
Okay, well, all the soldering is done, and I've connected up the battery to this. And you're a woodworker. You know that special moment when the finish hits bare wood, like tung oil or BLO, and you see the grain just come out in all its golden beauty? Well, this is the electronic equivalent of that when you throw the power. Here, take a look. I'm pretty pleased with this. Looks really nice.
Waiting a day for the final layer to cure, the longest day.
Okay, well, listen, thank you for sticking it through till this point. I'm going to close the video now. In the next one should be the last one with any luck. I'm going to finish the base and finish the lamp. The design of the base is still not yet final, but we'll get something in place before too long. So thanks again for staying with me through till here. And look, make some time for your passion and share it.